All right. Hello, welcome to SecurityBridge webinar. Thank you for joining this webinar. I'm your host. I'm Holger Hügel. I'm heading the product management at SecurityBridge. I'm very glad to have today with me Oliver Wilvock from our customer CBS. Oliver, welcome.
Hi, Holger. Thanks for being here.
And today we would like to have what we think is a different way of looking at SAP security, not talking about what you can do in terms of all the different topics, but more focusing on how you can achieve a certain level of SAP security. And that's why we want to talk with you about how you can kickstart your journey, because it's not a one-off thing. It's not about a product that you just install and it works. It's about an entire journey and it has to be planned. And there are a couple of challenges. We will talk about this during the session. Quick overview, what can you expect in the next couple of minutes? We will have just a short introduction and dive quickly into the key question, why SAP security? So why you should consider this, and what are the challenges associated with that? And I like Oliver's attitude, already talking about certain dilemmas, and he will elaborate why he thinks these are very important and also important for you to understand, so you know how to kickstart your SAP security journey with SecurityBridge, but also with support from consultants like Oliver, who is already experienced on that. For sure, we will have a Q&A session, and here I would like also to point out that we have a chat window on the right corner, and please feel free to add your questions there, and we will have them covered by the end of the session. With that, let us start. Quick intro into SecurityBridge. We are now since more than 20 years on the market. Started as a small company with actually a different name, NCMI. Two guys had one vision in mind, how to get SAP secure, how to create a security shield around the SAP system. And this was the first component we had, threat detection component. And after that, we figured out, or they figured out, that it makes also sense to start hardening the system from the inside. So not just creating a shield around the system, also making sure that the basic configuration, the patches and all the other things are also implemented in your system. So they developed over time an entire platform with a lot of features and functions that help you to cover various aspects of SAP security. As you are in this session, we assume that you are already quite familiar with those things. We will touch them a little bit at the end, but you can imagine that some of them are quite challenging to have them covered all at the same time. And this was also the idea behind developing the platform and supporting, you see now, more than 100 customers and more than 4,000 systems. The idea was to have a platform that is easy to deploy and quickly delivers the basic aspects of SAP security, which is monitoring what's going on in your system and being able also to see beyond the known things. So we call it know the unknowns, and for sure point you to those things that need to be fixed, so you increase the overall security posture you have in your system. And like Adidas here, for example, we gained a couple of customers, and probably you see some of them also being from the consulting industry. This is because most of them are also our partners like, for example, CBS. And yeah, Oliver will then introduce himself and give you some more insight into what CBS is doing. Oliver, please.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Holger, and thanks for the option of being here and introducing CBS, but also our point of view with regards to SAP security. But before we're starting into digging into SAP security, let me tell you some words about me and about CBS. Yeah, my name is Oliver Filvock. I'm consulting director at CBS, and basically I'm doing my business for 23 years now. So I was formerly IT leader in the banking area. That's why security is obviously a part of my DNA. And I'm crossing, let's say, the bridge from classical IT to SAP technologies, which is some kind of unicorn capabilities you won't find on the market in that depth. It's hard to find people on both sides of the world, because SAP is obviously not just another application. Yeah, it's a big universe of technologies and platforms and process-driven applications. And yeah, CBS, what is CBS? CBS is a consulting company, and the cool thing is that combining the view, let's say, from top down with the view of a technical bottom up, we can match and cover all the gaps that could be in SAP security. Because obviously, when we are talking about security, we always will talk about crown jewels, about those things that needs to be protected in a company, right? We are always talking about risk management and threat modeling or threat hunting and so on. So it's important to know where all the pain points could be and how important for a company and for a business it's to be resilient, yeah, because resilience is one of the key drivers and factors that will make you work fine and be resilient and successful even in future. And this is basically the vision of CBS. We are a company building the next one business platform, end-to-end processes that are really making you capable of facing the unknown, let's say, and facing the challenges that will come up in the next years for any kind of businesses. And we do that across all major products and processes and applications of SAP. And of course, SAP security is one of the underestimated things that we see across our customers. That's why we started our security journey already 20 years ago. But obviously, it's not that easy. And why is it not easy? Well, we can switch on to the next slide, maybe, Holger. Then the thing is, what is the digital reality, right? We can see that if we are looking towards all the buzzwords and the digitalization efforts and technologies that are arising and you need to combine, we are moving more and more away from this, let's say, big block, hidden applications and hidden servers in the data center of the customers. We are now having big interactions and integrations into cloud environments, into business to consumer and business to business environments. So you can think of a lot of bubbles with new technologies and new things that you need to connect to stay vital and keep your business up and running in this new future that is driven by unpredictability. So the VUCAs that are aiming towards you, all the problems we see even from the Ukraine crisis and the energy costs that are rising and growing, we see that security is not just another bubble, right? You shouldn't think of security as another buzzword or another topic you need to tackle or you need to buy or do. No, security is part of the web of the strings that are keeping all the parts together. And this is a really important part of the future of businesses. Is resilience will be mostly driven also by security. And this is not only true to the own architecture, but also to the supply chain, to all the suppliers that you have and the connections into your systems. So basically, it's really important to understand that nowadays and in future, there will be some kind of fragmented security. And if you're looking towards the legal requirements and regulations, you will see that you as a customer are in place of being accountable for security, for the security of your environment. But at the end of the day, you are, let's say, bound to some kind of feudal security. Yeah, you need to rely on security of your partners, providers, and business partners, and so on. Yeah? This is why we need to have a closer look to security, Holger.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense also when we look also from our end, and we are often asked, why should I install now a security software, or why do I need all these things? Yeah, and what we see, and I think this resonates quite well with what you just said, is what we see that risks are in general quite underestimated, while in fact, and you described it right, security have been fragmented, but also the risks have increased actually over time. Yeah, we see it sometimes in the news when other companies have encountered certain outages and so on. I think recently, I think today or yesterday, Volkswagen, and the first claim was it was not a cyber attack. I'm not sure, yeah, but interestingly, they had to make sure that no one really thinks it's a cyber attack. So obviously, everyone thinks the first reason for such an outage might be a cyber attack. So, but the good news, and we will come later on more into this, is that we have today solutions for that, right? So compared to 10, 20 years ago, yeah, we are today in a different situation where solutions are affordable, and this is why we think the mitigation is by far overestimated by most of the customers who do not know that there are solutions. They think, oh, it's so difficult to have at least a basic setup for SAP security, yeah. But the opposite is the truth, yeah. So we have automated and quite comprehensive solutions today, and nevertheless, there are certain challenges, right? When you look at how you want to implement SAP security, there are certain challenges, and you even talk about certain dilemmas. So yeah, why don't you give you some more insight on that?
Yeah, sure, will do. So basically, the thing is that we at CBS are not only, let's say, covering or taking care for the pains and findings at customers. We are also a managed security or managed service provider, meaning that we are running platforms that are connected to our customers and dealing with business critical processes. For example, providing e-invoicing and e-delivery services that are really important to our customers, and where outages are really causing a lot of costs and pains, even in the just-in-time production of automotive customers. So let's see CBS in two different ways. Yeah, on the one hand side, we are a consulting company knowing about all the pains that our customers have, but also we are a company as any other, yeah, that does have services we need to tackle security for, because it's important for our business, it's important for our reputation. And here the thing is that we need to deal with certain dilemmas, like all does, and it's not important to see that there might be a perfect solution for each and every dilemma. The first step needs to be, you need to be aware of such dilemmas, because as you said, the overestimation of efforts or the underestimation of risks is not necessarily the cause, because is not necessarily based on knowledge, on missing knowledge, or on missing awareness. I think we all know that security is crucial to our businesses, and we all know that we need to do things to be secure, but basically sometimes we do not see the right, let's say, path, or we think maybe someone else is taking care, or we do not really understand where the key challenges are, and how my role as a customer is to really define it in a proper way and make it bulletproof, right? And the one thing is, of course, when and it's the same for CBS. We were on looking for a provider running our environment, right? Having your own data center is not the way to go for the future, right? Cloud providers, outsourcing, and so on are typical aspects. But there, the thing is that the provider reality is that they are trying to save costs, right? They will do things in a standardized way, in an efficient way. They will aim for minimal effort. But as a customer, when looking towards security, I need to have an agile and up-to-date security, and this will cost effort. Yeah, we need to stay up to date. We need to have tools, licenses. We need to research things. We need to analyze things. So the customer's expectations are not necessarily matching the provider's reality, and it's really important to find a way in between. Yeah, to be aware of what do I get, what do I expect, and what is the reality behind, right? I need to deal with that, and I need to mitigate risks, or I need to add coordination or transparency to that. Yeah, and this brings us to the second dilemma, yeah, which also points there, because at the end of the day, if I'm putting out my applications to some kind of a provider, may it be a hyperscaler, may it be a managed service, or if we are talking about SAP, even an SAP RISE or SAP private cloud environment, I will always be, let's say, in the feudal security area, where I need to rely on the provider's side. But they, again, will have the problem of keeping efforts small, not necessarily aiming for agile, up-to-date security, and so on. And it's not necessarily clear who is really responsible for which kind of a story, leaving and leading to a lot of situations that we as a consulting company are really seeing every day when talking to customers. They don't know about their system, and if we are, for example, using SecurityBridge to really, in a proof of concept, quickly dive into the system and see how the system configuration is, we can show that there are a lot of topics. May it be unsecure configuration, may it be security incidents that are not taken care, or in worst case, we also saw landscapes that were not consistent in terms of patch management and change and release management. And at the end, the situation is, this is not necessarily the responsibility of the provider. The provider will tell you as a customer, well, you need to tell me what I should do in detail, yeah? And basically, I gave out my system because I don't want to take care for that. So for a customer, it's important to have a certain kind of a zero trust principle, right? Not necessarily meaning zero trust as the application or technology platform, but zero trust. If I do not trust my provider, and at CBS, we don't trust our providers, yeah, managed service providers, a hyperscaler or whatever. We are designing our landscapes, and we are designing the tools we need to have a proper insight and a proper feeling and knowledge about our security. We are running them because it's necessary for us to have that 4I, let's say, principle, not trusting the others, because at the end of the day, we are accountable to have a running environment with the needed security, right? And there are a lot of dilemmas, but let me take the last one here. So just three dilemmas you might focus on. The thing is, and we will follow up on that in the further slides. The thing is, of course, I can buy tools. I can gain quickly visibility about the situation in my company, but be careful, right? This is also two sides of the story. The one hand side is I can use tools, and I can use even pen tests to get an insight, because without insight or without an overview of my security situation, yeah, about weak spots, about insecure configuration, about security events that are already there, I'm not able to coordinate or to categorize, to create a roadmap and a certain step towards a more secure area. Yeah, if I don't know anything about my secure settings, I cannot plan to get secure or stay secure. So maximum transparency is really important to have, but on the other hand side, we see a lot of customers suffering from that transparency if it's not managed in the right way. So what did I see at customers a lot? they were implementing a tool having a lot of red alerts, which is fine, yeah, if you use them to then start to rethink your configuration, your setup, and to package the topics you need to aim for, maybe with a risk categorization, a risk management approach to prioritize things, yeah, and to put efforts in. This makes sense. But certainly, often it happens that then the security department is just throwing the red alerts into a team that is, let's say, already overwhelmed by daily business or project tasks. They won't be able to really keep track or work through this findings and through these events. Maybe also because they don't have the knowledge about each and every specific topic that you need to aim for, because in some cases, it's really easy to gain a quick, secure environment. But it's not just that there is a setting or a flag where you can switch between insecure and secure. Sometimes you need to have a project. For example, if you're rolling out SNC encryption, yeah, for SAP GUI dialog workstations, it's not just switching on things, right? You need to take care for all the applications and workstations and so on that they are capable of doing this. So what you need to have is not only the insight, but the, let's call it the digestible roadmap. Yeah, you need to prepare an approach how to eat an elephant, yeah, in the way that your company is really able to do. Because otherwise, it might turn out to be not a good idea to have too much insights, because this will create too much overload and will maybe sometimes lame the organization because they don't know where to start because of the big bunch of workload that you have created in the last years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I also have here, and this is just our environment, so that you just have an idea. Of course, it's not always the situation that you are happy with just one tool. But for us, it was clear that we will have a SIEM tool, which is in our case an Elastic Stack environment, but this could also be a Sentinel, QRadar, whatever. There are a lot of solutions out there, Splunk and so on. But it's important that you need to have this one even for the non-SAP or more technical platforms to gather all the logs, and you need to have a single place for your SOC, yeah, to operate in and to have the full transparency. But all those tools have one thing in common. They don't really know about SAP, because SAP is a too specific environment and a too large environment of different technologies and languages and wordings and so on. And here we as CBS decided to head for SecurityBridge, because it was obviously, when scanning the market, the one-stop solution for SAP security, really touching different points, not just authorizations, not just coding, not just patch management,